want to start off by saying this is not any form of political video. I just thought it was a really funny story and I want to share that experience. My personal beliefs are that I don't really agree with the left, the right in Europe. I think it's all bullshit. My personal opinion is that the left and right exists just to divide the masses, because we all have way more in common than we think. And with people that are, pulling the strings, they want to keep us fighting over small, left-right bullshit. But if you go to the Swedish Antifa site and go to Active Club and then Active Fascists, you can actually find me there, which is very, it's, and I will explain how I ended up on that hit list. But I before this, I didn't actually, the definition of fascist, I didn't really know like 100% what it meant. So yesterday I watched like a full 1 hour video, very well done, by a guy, I can share it here also, and he explained fascism. And I don't really, it comes from the word fascio, like Mussolini used like a stick. If you have one stick, it breaks easy, but if you have multiple sticks, like 1, 2, 3 here, it doesn't break as easily. And that's a fascio, like a bundle of sticks, you see. So, I don't know, and he explained that ideology, and I don't consider myself a fascist, if I'm being honest. What I actually do stand by is that I really, really love Sweden, the country I'm currently living in. I really love Sweden, and I would be able to say that, yes, I would fight and die for Sweden. I could say that proudly. I'm not born in Sweden. I have no Swedish blood. I'm born in Russia, in Moscow. My mother is Russian, my dad is Slovenian and Serbian. So he and his parents, I will just cover this really quickly, not my whole life story, but yeah, just very quickly. So his parents came during the 60s from Yugoslavia. And yeah, he became like a businessman. He met my mom in Russia when he was working. Then we moved to Sweden when I was 7. And I grew up in a neighborhood which was really coolly like structured. I lived in a really like middle class area, but it wasn't that big. It was a couple of apartments. Then up the road we had a street that was really like luxurious, really like big villas. A guy lived there. He was like the area's richest guy. He had like 6 cars. He was like a owner of a furniture company. Then you walk that street. There's only maybe 20 houses on that street. Then you have a football field, and then you have like a area that's like a ghetto, It was also labeled like a no-go zone where a lot of immigrants lived and a lot of crime, So what happened then is that all of these kids, when I grew up there, all of these kids went to the same school. So in my school there were like a lot of Swedish, middle-class kids, Swedish like rich kids, a lot of immigrants from that, area, and also some immigrants like from my area. I lived in like a normal, apartment area, middle-class. And also behind my area we had a really like rich area. So it was really mixed. In my school I remember I didn't know Swedish when I came to that school, so I went to like a group that was only for immigrants, and we had to learn Swedish because we didn't know it, and it was really funny. Like a lot of my friends till this day are the friends that I got to know when I was 7 years old, and up to now when I'm 22, I still in contact with them. Like my closest friends that I talk to every day are from that like time as well, which is really nice. And those people are really mixed. It was everything from Middle Eastern guys, African guys, Balkan guys, like Asian guys, and European guys. Everyone got along. Like we're just kids, No one, like if you're a guy watching this, you know that we don't really care. We don't really give a shit like where you come from. Like those people that I think that are actually racist are very few in the world. Maybe like some hillbillies that live in like Alabama, or like that never seen, like they almost never talk to any other like race. Maybe they can be considered like racist, but like I think very few people are actually like hate a person just because of their skin color, like hating, because that's hard to do. But yeah, back to the story. And also the word fascist, I don't know, I think like a lot of people don't really know what it means, and they just blatantly like throw it around like, oh, you're fucking fascist, because it's like a scare tactic. And the same is like with racist, like. But yeah, so I grew up there, and then I went to school, from 7 years old to 15 years old in the same school. And as time went on, we got like more and more like immigrant kids, and in like high school from the ages of 13 to 15, like from 7th grade to 9th grade in Sweden, it was like a majority, immigrant kids. And I was cool with everyone. Like my best friend at the time was African. I still know him to this day. Like we're still cool, And yeah, in my class there were like 2 Swedish guys. And the weirdest thing about that time is everyone noticed this as well. Like it became like a trend, like being Swedish and having some sort of, connection to Sweden on a deeper level was really, really quirky or like dorky, like almost like you're a nerd, almost like you're something like bad. So I realized the girls, even a lot of the girls that are Swedish, have Swedish parents, a lot of guys, went home and they were like, Mom, Dad, do we have any relatives in like some other countries? And if the parents were like, yeah, we have like some relatives in Germany or Finland, let's say, then they would write like the German flag in their bio on Instagram just to not be associated with being like a Swede. And this is us living in like the capital of Sweden. So that was like the first thing that I noticed, like kind of strange. Like, how is it uncool to be Swedish? Everyone tries so hard to like talk ghetto, you know, to dress ghetto, to you know, to act in like a way. It's like, oh, like yeah, like fucking Swede, like fucking Swede, you know. And yeah, I didn't really care about that. Like I always like knew how to speak well in Swedish. My dad was very strict on that. He didn't want me talking ghetto and stuff like that. So people eventually thought like, okay, yeah, he's a Swede, you know. When I started like another school, when I became 16, 17, 18, I I started dressing differently. I started hanging around a lot in the city with more Swedish people, and I noticed like, okay, here it's not as like frowned upon to be Swedish. Um, but time went on, and then when I finished school and started working, there was a time where yeah, I was just like simply working and like working out, staying at home. You know, I didn't really have a plan. I think I was like 17, 18. This was 2023. So more, yeah, it was 3 years ago, and I remember like just scrolling on TikTok or something and seeing like a lot of like guys. You know, my first ever video I saw of this group called Active Club Sweden was they stood like on a bridge and they celebrated Sweden's national day. Sweden's national day. They were like celebrating it with flags, like congratulations Sweden. They had masks. They were like football supporter hooligans guys that were like nationalists, standing on this bridge having like flares and making cool, you know, videos, edits. Or I thought they were cool at least. I was like, oh fuck yeah, like because you rarely see that in Sweden. It's now I will go back in time a little bit. I remember when I was in like 8th, 9th grade, I had a close friend. He was Swedish. He loved watching Swedish football at the national team. And once he posted like on his Snapchat story like a picture with himself with the Swedish flag, like because Sweden won, and he got so many like hate comments for that because he just had the flag. And we see the same thing happening in England now, and I don't stand by it. Like I don't think that's cool at all because you are in that country. Like how can it be corny to like have the country's flag? I don't like that. But yeah, so the first I got like programmed since birth that or since I came to Sweden. Like yeah, it's not cool to be Swedish. Like if you're blonde, blue-eyed, like oh yeah, you're a dork, you know. And yeah, when I saw this, like when I was about 18, when I saw this TikTok of you know this like national Swedish guys, you know, like making edits with like you know this funk music and they're like having this balaclava, this football hooligan style. I thought like whoa, you don't really see this a lot. Like guys actually like you know being proud of being Swedish. So. I like checked them out a little bit, and I saw like yeah, we train martial arts together, and we like if you want to, you know, like feel you know united, like we have like this group we train together. So I reached out to them. I talked to a guy. We talked about you know just our personal experience because, like I said, and at this time I was also like, I would say majority of my friends are immigrants from like the Middle East or Africa. If I like see the whole like friend group, a lot of them are not Swedish, you know. The majority is immigrants, so I have no like you know hate against a special like group of people. I think that's corny. I think that's really like kind of strange, autistic, and like I said, I think very few people are like that. But yeah, I was talking to this guy. He was like, yeah, we do martial arts and we just like sometimes we like patrol different areas just to keep people safe, you know, because a lot of my friends have been robbed, and a lot of my immigrant friends have been robbed, and almost. No, I would not even say like almost over it. Like 99%, it was by some other immigrants. So, and this is not like me being racist. This is just pattern recognition. And if you like see this video and think like, oh, he's a fucking racist, you like I don't care. Like you can think whatever you want. I will tell you about this story. It's really funny. I will just live my life. I don't really care about being called names like fascist, racist. Like it doesn't bother me because the people that know me know me. Like I'm not crazy. But yeah, I met up with these guys. They talked a little bit like. Yeah, we're just like we want Swedish guys to feel you know proud to being Swedish, and I'm not even Swedish, and I'm like yeah, like of course, like I agree with that. So the whole thing with this active club was that you met like once a week, and we did wrestling actually. We did wrestling, and then those who wanted like stayed in this gym and went to the sauna and just talked. And there were no like, let me tell you this because this group active club. Now, in the newspaper, I will tell you what happened like recently, why this whole thing blew up. It escalated, of course, but at that time, those conversations that we were having, like in the sauna and everything, those are the same conversations that I could have with all of my friends, even Africans, Middle Eastern guys. You know, like we knew. Like I feel like as the society, I feel it's if you're like a politician and you see a group of like young guys like having some concerns and talking in a certain way about maybe immigration or something like that, or like we don't like that it's not cool to be Swedish. We don't like that like a lot of our friends get robbed by by immigrants. Like this is not right. And there's different factors for why that is happening. Like we could talk about it for ages. Like I said, this is not political, but I just think that why not if you see the young generation in your country reacting a certain way, why do you never listen to them? Why do you never try to understand what is going on? Because us, the young generation in a society, we have a totally different point of view. Because our parents, when we were like in middle school, high school, they were at home. They were only meeting like middle class Swedish parents. They were only meeting other Swedish parents. They didn't hang out around other cultures, other like people, like races. They were like playing golf, like playing tennis with their other Swedish friend. They didn't experience the shift of culture and like lifestyle, if you can call it that, as we did. And then when certain people react, because like I said, even like when I were around like my immigrant friends, we talked the same thing. We're like, yeah, this some Serbian guy I knew, remember he got like robbed. He and his friend group, like his football club, they were at a party, and some girl was like dancing with some guy. Then they went home to the subway. A whole group of like a gang went to them on this subway platform. Like, okay, who the fuck like grabbed my sister? And they took everyone, including my friend that didn't even drink, do nothing. He was like super like religious, Serbian guy. They forced them up into the woods, and they tortured them in the cold for multiple hours. They stripped them, they like beat them, they stabbed them, they like made fun of them, like yeah, you're gonna die. They robbed them and everything. And so a lot of like immigrants hurt other immigrants, and this is not a weird thing. Like a lot of, if you have some common sense, you know this. And it's way like bigger in Sweden also. I don't really know how it is now growing up, like being 15, 18, I don't really know, but I'm just telling you my experience. So yeah, back to like the sauna, I was in the sauna with them, and I like realized, okay, these guys, a lot of them weren't even, like in the active club, they weren't even Swedish. And they were like, yeah, pissed about the situation. They're like, yeah, we need to like, unite the same way like football fans feel united when they go and watch a game and they like fight for each other. We need to do that, like as Swedish people, and especially the young generation, because everyone is like taught from a young age, like, oh, if you're Swedish, if you're like white, you are a piece of shit. And they wanted to change that, and I agree. I don't like that at all. I still don't like that. But I don't hate any other people, I'm cool. If you're from Afghanistan or Somalia, I can be cool with you, like as long as you're a cool guy, You could be a white guy that's trashy and mean and evil, and I don't want to be around you. Like, that's just my way of thinking. But yeah, I trained with them. They introduced me to martial arts, and which I have thought about for a long time at the time. I only played football, and I knew that martial arts was like a new step to life, almost. Better sport, in my opinion, like better, like physically, mentally, like everything, accountability, discipline. It's you against, another. It's so primal. So they got me into that via wrestling. They gave me a tip to join like an official club, because we were just only training for fun in like a gym. And they were like, yeah, if you live close to here, which it was close to my area, there's this club, just go, like, we're planning also to join that club. And so we went to train, and in that club there was no like weird thing, a lot of like different people, really cool vibe. I trained there for like almost a year. But like a couple of months in, a lot of the guys, also new guys from the club, were like, not active club, like the official MMA club. They're like, yeah, we're planning on like going to this city, which is funny enough the city I live in now. A very small, like, random city, but yeah. And they're like, yeah, we're planning on fighting, like, against, it's like an event, we're gonna fight against another, like, MMA club. And I was like, okay, yeah, this is something that my MMA club has done. So I was not, like, really aware that this was an active club thing. I didn't really care, if I'm being honest. I was like, yeah, like, 2 months experience, I'm like, yeah, let me go fight, like, MMA. I was really hyped, it was a really fun thing. They were like, yeah, we need some transport. We were like almost 10 guys, if I'm not mistaken. So we had 2 cars. And one of the cars was, I took my mom's car, because why not? I didn't think there was gonna be any red flags, which, by the way, yeah, it's a little spoiler, but yeah. We took my car, we drove there, it was good vibes. When we arrived, it was different. We got like some coordinates to like a church. Not like this big, beautiful church, like more like a church, where you like preach, it's just a building, and these like old white guys, like hillbillies, a lot of them, yeah, like white trash, built like this cage, like arena inside of this church. I will try to find like videos and stuff like that, because it was a really unique experience. And the guys who were supposed to fight against, they didn't show up. they did not show up. So they were like, yeah, a lot of these people are like betting on you. We had like, they had everything from like merch to, food, betting, like beer, everyone, there was a lot of like people watching. So they're like, yeah, we need this event to happen. So you're just gonna have to fight against each other. So I had to fight against a guy that was from my club, that was in my car. So we knew each other's plans, and yeah, everything is going super fast in my head. Like at first I'm a little bit like cocky, like yeah, I'm gonna win this. Then when it's slowly getting to be my turn, I'm like, okay, I feel the adrenaline. I feel like a little bit scared. Then they like call out my name. Everything just disappears. Like the adrenaline just takes over. I go out. I feel like okay, I'm in a cage. I feel like a dog. I feel like a pit bull, like in an illegal like dog fight. People are like banging on these steel cages that they built like from fucking shopping cart, blah 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 things. Like we're standing. My opponent comes in. We look each other in the eye. The referee's like, okay, fight. Like after that, I don't remember shit. It was 3 rounds. And unfortunately, I lost. I won the first round, but the second, I got like. First, I think he like knocked me out, like a technical knockout. I remember my nose. I think my nose got really like fucked up after that. I don't remember like how breathing was before that, if you know what I mean. But they were like, because I started bleeding, like, you want to go on like the third round? I was like, yeah. And then the guy like choked me out. But I was in the first round. I was good. I was okay. My punches were shit. Like this was my first time like fighting. The people that were watching said they looked like a hooligan fight almost, not a real like MMA fight. But I did a kind of cool thing. I like picked him up and I slammed him against the floor, which was really cool. But yeah, I lost that fight, unfortunately, but it was cool. I was still like proud of myself. I felt like a warrior, I still felt like I had accomplished something. I was like, I had, my head was shaved back then because I thought it looked cool. And I remember I'm having this like bumps on the head that was red, my eye was fucked, like my nose, was bleeding, really sensitive. Like my body, I was so tired after a fight. I wanted to just go to sleep. And yeah, and then after that, like my first red flag was that like, the referee like held like a speech, like okay, yeah, these young guys are fighting. We like older guys need to step up, and just the crowd gave me a lot of like bad vibes. A lot of people in the crowd, some were cool, like I talked to them, but some just seemed a little bit out of touch with like reality. Drinking beer, like not my type of people, and like I think they could like see like some black guy walking down the street, like think like bad thoughts, and I don't really care, but. After that fight, that was like in the middle of 2023, so yeah, 3 years ago. After that fight, I kind of continued to train MMA, but I was like, okay, I'm not gonna. I don't really know the reason. I think because I had a lot of other things going on in my life. I had a girlfriend at the time. I had like a job, I had my other friends that I played football with, and my family. So naturally, I just started hanging out with these guys from Active Club less and less and less. And it became so, I became so distant to them, so that at the end of 2023, one of the like main guys, which is on the news now, which I'm gonna like talk about a little bit later, he reached out to me like, yeah, I was in Slovenia. It was before New Year's, 2023. He called me like, yeah, what's up? Like, how are you? We haven't talked in a while. And I just remember, I was like, yeah, I don't know, I'm just in Slovenia. I didn't really give him like an answer why, because I didn't know that as well. And I gave him some like bullshit like answer. I didn't really say to him like, yeah, I'm not gonna like be training with you guys anymore. I trained at the same MMA club that a lot of them did, but I didn't like train and hang out with them like I used to before, like training wrestling and stuff like that. And he was cool with it. He didn't like tell me anything. But I think when I like hung up the phone and started thinking about that, because there's 2 factors why I like stopped hanging out with them. One is because there was a lot of like internal gossip, which I don't stand by. I don't really like people talking behind people's backs. There was a lot of things like that, I would say. And also I talked to my dad about like this group, and he was like, yeah, just be careful, like a lot of these people could be really extreme, and a lot of them maybe want like sugarcoat their like motives, and then like when you look at the individual, they could be a little bit strange. And I really look up to my dad. I took his advice to like be a little bit more like passive, and I didn't really like the vibe, if I'm being honest. Like it was a lot of internal drama like in that group, which I just knew that they were like talking about me, and I'm really grateful that a lot of my friends that my childhood friends, I still had them, and like it was just way better friend groups. I chose them over the other like Active Club guys every day. But yeah, I after that I forgot about it like totally. I didn't even like look it up like what they're up to and stuff like that. I just knew that they worked out and trained together. Then I saw on the news that like some like socialist party were having like a meeting, and a group of young guys threw like tear gas bombs in this building, and I had my suspicions, if you know what I mean, of who that may be, but I didn't really think about it that much. Like still, I forgot about it maybe in a week, and time went on. Like a lot of time went on, and now fast forward to now, 2026, before New Year, before New Year, before Christmas, sorry, before New Year and Christmas, really randomly, like some old friends from my school, from my the school that I went to when I was from 16 to 18, like called me like, yeah, it was a long time ago, like the whole class was like, gathered, yeah, and then one of them like, oh, you're like a Nazi or something. Like, what do you mean? Like, yeah, I saw, someone saw that you were, on Antifa. So I like searched my name in Antifa, and then I see like a header, like active club, active fascists, and then I scroll down, I see my name, my full name, my social security number, like my full personal number, my address, which I don't even live at, but yeah, never mind. And like I'm listed with these guys, and the crazy thing is, I forgot to tell you before this, I think why Antifa's site even blew up, because Antifa, we know Antifa, like Antifa is Antifa. You don't, if you're a normal person, you don't really go in there and check things out, But before I got this call by this friend, and I realized I was on their site, which my guess is that they had like scouts, or when we were doing this fight, and they saw my car and my mom's car, they ran the plates, and they saw me, they had my photo maybe, and they just assumed, and I don't doubt them, because this is why. Before I got the call, before Christmas, now, like last year, there were major like news in Sweden that active club guys had been running around in Stockholm, beating up like immigrant guys, robbing them, like just beating up like black guys or brown guys, And this was a big thing because they were caught like doing the Roman salute on camera. They didn't cover their face or anything. They were like, and I have my ideas like why they did this so foolishly, and I think that it's because they wanted to like raise reaction, from the Swedish people, or get some more attention, or just start something, like make violence more normalized against like immigrants maybe. But the crazy thing about this is, okay, this thing blew up. But if you like looked at the news channels on like Instagram, because the news channels in Sweden, they use like TikTok and Instagram to appeal to younger audience also. When they covered those news, they actually deleted the comments. And one video from one journalist like company, newspaper company, they didn't cover their comments, and a lot of the comments were like, yeah, finally it's the other way around, or like they were really like defending these guys, which is kind of crazy. So I think that's why people at those companies deleted, like shut down the comments, deactivated the comments. So that thing happened, and of course, like a lot of people go to Antifa because to find out, they go to websites or organizations that expose people that are like a part of this. Because if imagine this, you don't know me, and then you see this news that like the people are running around beating up immigrants, and then you look who's part of that, and then you see my face. What are you gonna think about me? Like I know, like it's not a good look, and I was like, okay, I need to do something about this. And Antifa has like an option where you can contact them if you're no longer part of like the group. They have some column like, yeah, we don't care about your political views, blah blah blah. We just want to know if you're active or not on the streets. And I've never been, I haven't done anything illegal. I have nothing to hide, I was just training with these guys, like martial arts, and just hanging out with them. I never did anything illegal. I never hit anyone just because of which race they are or anything like that. Or yeah, but I understand the reaction. So like, okay, this can like fuck up my life if this like becomes bigger. I talked to my parents about that, and they were like, yeah, just I don't know, like it's a big thing. Like if you contact them, like the people that are in charge of Antifa, they're not really sane. Like you can't really negotiate with those people. They can just make it worse for you. So I was like, you know what? What's better? Like, dealing with literal like terrorists. I don't respect Antifa at all. I do not respect them at all. Do I want to deal with those guys? They can just make it bigger, So I chose to just let it be, and we'll see how that plays out for me. But it's not easy still, because I'm guessing they reached out to a lot of. First of all, a lot of people saw that. Okay, a lot of people from my previous work and like my friends. like my close friends know me. Then like everyone has seen it. I've told everyone about it, like my family, my friends, and everything. Even my current girlfriend knows about it. Like no one gives a like people that know me know that this is bullshit because they know my story also. But people that know me like this, a lot of people like reached out like, what the fuck are you like? Oh, I thought you were like a good guy. Now I see this. Like I never want to see you again. People from my job, you know, because Antifa they contact like your job. I think they also contacted my school because I noticed like a producer I was working really closely with, her vibe like totally switched on me. She went from like, you know, pushing me a lot, like, you know, really encouraging me to put out my clothing and stuff like that, and she just became cold and really distant. And yeah, and then I was like speculating like, have they contacted my school? And I got that confirmed a couple of months ago. I was at there was like some DJs playing in the city that I'm studying in, and I started talking to they have like this room where you can smoke. So I was in there talking to all different kinds of people. I met some like Russian guys, we started talking. So I stood there, I didn't even listen to the music. And this black girl comes up to me. She's like, "Oh, are you the one doing these like sweatshirts?" I'm like, "Yeah." "Oh, you know about them?" She's like, "Yeah." And then we had a really friendly conversation, blah, blah, we joked and everything, because she went to my school. We had a couple of courses together. And then from out of nowhere, she's like, "I had to ask you a really serious question." I'm like, "Yeah, go on." She's like, "Are you a Nazi?" I'm like, "Oh, Jesus Christ, here we go again." And I explained like all the story to her. And she's like, "No, but you can't say it. Don't be like scared to say what you think." I just told you. And she couldn't stop, you know, like asking like, "No, but you are a Nazi, right? You are." I'm like, "No, but aren't you listening to me?" And for the record, she was a little bit drunk. So like she didn't like, she wasn't like, you know, aggressive or anything. It wasn't like a nice conversation. Because she also said, at the end, she said like, "Yeah, I noticed you're like a good guy, and I just thought like you were hiding it. You were like a closet racist, closet Nazi or something." But she told me that like, I don't know how this came about. She told me like one of her friends something saw my like profile picture on some app where you like sell vintage clothing, and then she linked it to me, like saw this picture. I don't know, maybe if you like, the thing is, if you search my full name, you if you scroll down like a far bit, you see Antifa. Like it's not at the first top, you know, at Google. So I'm wondering like, the first person that saw this must have really like somehow, I don't know, I don't know. But also like, if you go into Antifa, which a lot of people did at that time after that that assault that those guys did, of course, if you know me, of course it's gonna like, because I don't know that many people in Sweden, if I'm being honest. I have like my friend group.
And something that I forgot to mention is that my girlfriend got a lot of messages, and the girl at the bar said that she would assault me, which is crazy.
But yeah, so she like confirmed that like pretty much everyone in school like knew it, or like everyone that knew who I was, you know, her class, a lot of people in my class, which is like, when I got to know that, I was like, okay, this is kind of awkward. Like now people view me as this like guy that wants to kill everyone that's not white, that like hates women, that hates, you know, people that are gay and stuff like that. Like, I don't know. So the situation is a bit like strange, but I think this is a really like good experience also. You can't really control what every human on earth like thinks about you, and I think this is what like the higher power wants me to learn, you know, just to like, because I was stressed about this, especially like, okay, am I going to be able to get like a normal job in the future? But yeah, like I said, those people that really know me know that I'm not like some weird weirdo. I like martial arts. I stand by like my opinions. I just think that Sweden should not encourage Swedish people to be cowards. And you know, like I just got raised in a way that like, okay, if you come from a different country that's worse, like for me it was Russia, you should be grateful for the country that's better, that's giving you opportunities, and especially a country like Sweden, that is a socialist country where you have school for free, you have the best school like the best food in the school, you have I get paid to go to university here. That's crazy. I get paid to do that. I get to take out a really cheap loan, and I get what's it called? And I get money from the government to go to school, to university. Healthcare is free. What else? Like, it's a really easy country to live in, and that's because of socialism. Like, socialism is a really cool thing. I do not like ultra capitalism. I think that's BS. Like, the society I grew up in when I was, you know, a kid up until like 15 was beautiful. And I hear a lot of Swedish people talk about, you know, how it was like in the 60s, 70s, 80s, it sounds very beautiful. Like the drastic changes, like whether you like it or not, they came with a lot of immigration that Sweden didn't know how to handle. And why those people are fleeing their countries in the first place is a whole different like subject. We see now the US is fighting like the wars for Israel, and they're bombing countries like Iran. That's just gonna create the same thing. Because yeah, I think there's like this. If I'm being totally honest, I think there's like people are trying to, you know, make Europe a third world country. I really think they are. And if you have like an emotional connection to your country, to your city or to your town, you're more likely to like care for it and, you know, defend it and take care of it and stand up if someone wants to like change things or destroy it. And I think that's a lot of what a lot of people want to get rid of, unfortunately. Because I don't think, as the EU, I don't think you fuck up immigration that much on just on accidents. You don't do that and continue to do the things that happen now. Whatever, even if it's like a left government or a right government, it's the same exact story. And it's not that like, oh yeah, no one should take in refugees, of course, but it's the same thing. Like a lot of Middle Eastern guys that I know and their families, they don't even want to be here. They want to be with their people in the Middle East. A lot of Africans don't want to be here in cold Sweden. They want to be in Africa. And then, of course, there are some issues in those countries also, like there's everywhere. But I don't see myself as some crazy lunatic for like saying, yeah, I also agree that Swedish guys, like if you have Swedish guys and then you have like some immigrant guys, and the immigrant guys like rob them, like beat them, the Swedish guys should be able to fight back. I think if you're a man, you have the right to fight. You know, if you disagree, you should fight. You should like be able to stand up for yourself. And a lot of Swedish like people don't have that. And yeah, like I said, a lot of, I think if you're like a politician watching this, you can just simply like, either you call me a fascist or like some crazy nationalist or racist, you can even call me, or you can just call me like some young guy that's lost, like an extremist that doesn't know what he's talking about. But at the same time, who knows better about what the youth is experiencing? Like if you're some 60-year-old politician that lives like in some big villa in an area that's only white, you do cocaine on the weekends, you have a lot of money, who are you to talk about what the youth is experiencing, you know? So I don't know how it's gonna turn out. Like I'm really grateful for my life still. I'm not nihilistic. I don't think it's bad. Like I said, I don't hate like a certain group of people. I don't know. I just don't resonate with that. I can never understand that really. But I do hate bad people. I do hate people that rape. I do hate people that rob, that steal, that murder. And unfortunately, a lot of people that have come to Sweden recently. Not a lot. Like I don't want to like say like yes, the majority of immigrants rape and do this. No. But a lot of them do. And it's like, if you say that in Sweden, everyone looks at you like you're some crazy lunatic. I think it's so strange. Why are you defending, you know, like thieves and like rapists, or like, even if it's like, oh, we feel bad for them, they have it tough, like, you know, that's like, you know, some immigrant kid, like being really like, beating up his classmates in school, and then the teacher is like, to the guy that got beat up, like, yeah, but he has it really rough, he came here from like a war. That should not matter. That should not matter. Like, the reality is harsher than that. He's not there, okay? He's not there. So there should be strict rules. Like, you don't beat other people. Period. You know, you don't do that. And then you follow that. Or if you don't, you need to be, like, actually punished. Yeah. Some sort of consequence needs to be applied. That's the same thing as if you're a child and you don't have any consequences. You're gonna grow up and be a horrible human being. Parents are there to teach you about consequences, because if they don't, what's the next step? That's the police. Then you go to jail, you know? If you don't learn that, like, some lines you do not cross. And yeah, the Swedish people are like afraid to like talk, but I don't have all the answers. I just wanted to share this this story. It's really strange. I think this is really gonna like change my life in some sort of way. Like I said in the beginning, I was really stressed because I'm like, okay, the people that don't know me that well will like think really strange things about me, and you know that could fuck up, you know, me like getting good contacts in the future, or just, you know, some day-to-day stuff, you know, getting like cancelled, you know what I mean? Not that I'm like famous or anything, but...
And I want to clarify, I still stand by everything. I don't regret anything, and yeah, I don't think I did anything wrong as well.
But at the same time, like learning to deal with it, I'm really thankful. Like I said, there's if you're a successful human, you probably have people that are, you know, thinking bad things about you, and you just have to deal with it. You can't please everyone. And yeah. I still do martial arts, by the way, till this day. It's an amazing sport. I do this in this city. Yeah, also really mixed group of guys, you know, people, cultures, and the sport itself is amazing. It really is. It's one of the funniest ways, or like the most. It's almost as you're a child again. You're playing, you know. It's one of the most like funny ways to like get a really good workout in. It's martial arts for me, definitely. MMA is the best thing best decision like I've made. And fighting is so good for your like spirit, for your mental, for your soul, really. So yeah, I just wanted to tell you this story. Really strange experience, and I'm probably gonna be up there in that site for quite some time on Antifa. And yeah, but that's life. Who knows? Okay, take care.